Come on. We will win. Because we will hit all game. We are motivated. We are dedicated. Come on now. Come on now. We will win. Because we are the best on the field. And we hit the field light, all day light, all night light, on the blue light, offense light, defense light, his squad light, house call light, and the sound light, and the sound light, and the sound light. Looks right, throws it too high. Oh, it was called on the back end. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? He called it in. ECU, the miracle win. In Lubbock tonight.
Goes for the end zone. The ball's in the air. It drops at the goal line. I think he counted for a touchdown. He got it. He got it. He got it. Touchdown, Nick Matthews. The Cougars win it. The Cougars win it. He gets in. He's got room to the right. Tucks. Throws anyway. In the end zone. It is caught. It's caught for a touchdown.
It's a good one. The set down. The kick is up. On the way. It is
He missed the catch. Do you believe this? With 1:11 to go, he missed the kick.
He is up, and the kick is no good. And the Cougars are going to win the football game.
Donnell Barnes over on the far side. He's going to keep it himself. Cut back inside. Slams for the touchdown. And the
forever. I'ma do this here forever.
Welcome everybody to the Short Sports Show. I am your host Daniel Short. Today is Friday, January 8th, 2016, and we are inching so very close to the college football national championship game between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Clemson Tigers. I feel like I said Clemson Tide. It doesn't matter. Anyways, we have that, and the NFL playoffs start tomorrow. Yes, the playoffs, and I am excited. I believe everybody is. That's why you're listening to the show, because you're trying to get pumped. You're trying to get ready for this weekend that we have in store for us. Again, it is a beautiful morning, a foggy, beautiful morning here in San Marcos, Texas. I am Daniel Short again. Just like saying my name for a reason. Anyway, follow me on Twitter at @short_sports 24/7. Just overall, I'm having a great day, guys. I had Whataburger last night, and right after I got to work, and I just feel great. I just feel great. I truly do. But anyways, this intro you just heard is by Triune featuring EQ. The song is called Forever. You can buy it on iTunes and anywhere else. All links are down in the description below for his Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube channel, and just about everything you can think of is all in the description down below. This show is probably going to be another hour show. I mean, we've got a lot. We got college football, the NFL, just a ton of news, a ton of breaking news, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more news coming out right after the show. You know how it happens. You know how it happens. But before we get started, again, follow me on Twitter at @short_sports 24/7. Become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. Be the amazing person who goes to iTunes, whether you're listening on it already. But when you download it, make sure you rate it. Share it with your friends and family. All over social media. Word by mouth. Just about everything, guys. No, but seriously, guys, thank you so much for the support. And let's get started with the show. First news is USC has hired Clancy Pendergrass as their new defensive coordinator, returning him to a role he had with the Trojans back in 2013. Now, he didn't keep his job because Steve Sarkisian just didn't want him. Another stupid call by Steve Sarkisian. But before taking the job with the San Francisco 49ers, he interviewed with Oregon's head coach Mark Helfrich, who then opted to stay in-house and promote linebackers coach Don Pelham, which now we've seen how that happened. He got demoted back to linebackers coach, and Helfrich was like, well, maybe you should come back or come join our staff. We can have you as defense coordinator. Nope. He said, no, I'm going to USC. Clay Helton gave me a better deal, better offer, and honestly, California, Los Angeles, or Oregon. I'm taking Los Angeles. I'm taking Southern California all day, every single day. Other news, Alabama assistant Mel Tucker will be Kirby Smart's new defensive coordinator at Georgia next season. Now, Tucker joined Alabama as defensive backs coach and assistant head coach back on January 29th of last year. And before that, he served as defensive coordinator with the NFL with the Cleveland Browns back in 2008 and the Jacksonville Jaguars from 2009 to 2012, the Chicago Bears from 2013 to 2014, and he was the Jaguars interim head coach back in 2011 when Jack Del Rio was fired and coached Jacksonville to a 2-3 record. Now, you're thinking, okay, this guy's got NFL experience. He's been on, obviously, with Kirby Smart already, with the defensive side, with DB's coach and all that great stuff. He also worked at Ohio State, LSU, Miami of Ohio, and Michigan State. Okay, this guy's good, and especially with the NFL stuff. Well, college-wise, most likely, yes, he looks like he is a really good coach, especially everywhere he's been and the success he's had with Alabama. But again, Alabama's Alabama. But the NFL thing, you can't be sold on that at all. If you look at not only the teams he was with, but those years of that defense that those teams had, were not good at all. The Cleveland Browns back in 2008, the Jaguars 09 through 12, yikes, and Chicago Bears maybe 2013. That was probably the solid year. I think that's when they went to the divisional or the NFC Championship, lost to the Packers, if I'm right, maybe. Or I could be completely off on that. Maybe I'm thinking 2012. But anyways, not so much in 2014. So while it's great college and that's where he's staying, that's where he's going to be, is he ready to take a DC role at a big program at Georgia? I don't know. I feel like obviously he's going to be working with Kirby Smart. He already has been for over a year now. Maybe everything's going to go a little bit more smoothly. Now, Tucker, he did draw a lot of interest. He was a candidate for UTSA's head coaching job and Tennessee's defensive coordinating job. So he's got the name. He's got the resume. I think he's going to do fine. But the NFL stuff, I'm not sold on that. If that's a selling mark, I'm not sold whatsoever. Now, we talked about last week the biggest news of the college football playoff, which we will do a preview of its own on Monday when the actual everything happens. Now, number one, Clemson, we saw that, well, because of their spring semester starting this past Wednesday, that they were not going to be able to practice the same amount of, the unlimited amount of practices and film studies, all the other good stuff, like Alabama is, because Alabama's spring semester starts the day, a week or next week after the college football playoff. And because NCAA rules, you had to practice within 20 hours per week, and that includes everything from practices, weightlifting, film sessions, meetings, everything, and the game itself all count within that 20 hours. But Clemson found a way out of it. Check this out. Now, again, Clemson would have been restrained by NCAA rules preventing in-session schools from practicing or holding team meetings for more than 4 hours per day or 20 hours per week. But the NCAA on Wednesday granted the Tigers in in regards to limits on practice time and rules about players missing classes. So now professors of Clemson are saying, you know what, football players, and I guess overall I think it would have to be equal for all students, y'all can take off. And since they're able to take off with professor approval, that means players then can practice the more, it says the school said it would still have to adhere to the 20-hour weekly maximum, and that the players would miss class only with professor approval. So I think they found a little way that they could still practice a little bit more, a little more film studies, stuff like that. A little squeakish by, but it's okay. I would like there to be something. I think, like I said last week, we're going to see a lot more teams bigger schools say, maybe we should just move our spring a little bit different. Now, of course, the college football playoff, the timing thing with the low ratings they had on New Year's Eve, whether they're going to move it or not, they said no, but ESPN's put a ton of money into this, so who knows if that forces this situation, and maybe we get a closer date where most schools are going to be clear from it, but who knows. But it's good for Clemson to get something positive in practicing and stuff like that. Ohio State head coach Urban Meyer thought roughly 6-ish amount of players would be leaving for the NFL draft. Well, that number jumped to 9. Quote, 9's a lot. The 4 or 5 is more manageable. 1 year at Florida, we had 12 players sending in their paperwork, and you're like, my goodness. I mean, it's what we do when you recruit like that. I've been in scenarios where you don't have a lot of conversations about the NFL because you don't have that caliber of players. This was over the top, end quote. Now, Meyer thanked all of his leaving players for the way they handled the process and everything that's gone through. Now, again, we knew the handful of players that would be leaving for the NFL draft for sure, whether it was announced earlier or we just, a guy like Joey Bosa, we know he was going to leave no matter what, unless an injury or something. Ezekiel Elliott, backup quarterback Cardale Jones announced, earlier in the season, which I still am mind blown why he's even doing it, why he just doesn't transfer, because honestly, unless you're the Cleveland Browns, I don't think anybody drafts him in the top 5 rounds. Why would you? I don't know. I know it's a weak quarterback class, but he's had, a few games under his belt? I'm not sold. But what a few somewhat surprises the Buckeyes joined in the ranks this week were Tyvis Powell, Von Bell, both safeties, cornerback Eli Apple, linebacker Darren Lee, and wide receivers Jalen Marshall and Michael Thomas. Now, majority of those players are projected pretty high within, the top 3-4 rounds. But, man, that is a lot. And it's a good thing for Ohio State recruiting-wise, saying, hey, we're sending this many players to the NFL draft. This was my first draft class as Urban Meyer's, recruiting guys. This is my first draft class. And look how many players we got going. Bam. That's a selling point. Ohio State really doesn't need to sell that much. It's the Ohio State University. They get enough recruits anyways. But still. But the reason I want to talk about this is because I want to make this a discussion for you guys. Are players truly thinking about the real possibility that they might not get drafted high, which is very important, not because to feed your ego, but money-wise, there's a huge drop-off. You can look at it everywhere. There's sites everywhere. You could see from the amount of money, just even in the first round alone, it goes from about 24 million to then about like 6.5 million, just in the first round. And then it just obviously drops. But, or even getting drafted at all. Are players truly thinking about that? And the reason why, there's an example, and I hate bringing it up, but it's the biggest example I can think of. Last year, TCU had 2 players forego their senior season, and when they really should have stayed. And I'm not saying this as a fan that they should have stayed because of this year or whatever. No, because of what happened with them. And I'm not saying, well, in hindsight, you can look back, and we all knew they should have stayed. So we had running back B.J. Catalon, who ended his season with a concussion and missed multiple games. Didn't even play in the bowl game. Didn't even dress. It was, missed at least, I think, 4 games at the end of the year. Still said, hey, I'm going to the NFL draft. I'm entering the NFL draft, thinking he would still get drafted. And then you had free safety Chris Hackett, who led the Big 12 with 7 interceptions that year. But we all knew he needed another season under his belt to be drafted at least in the top 3 rounds. I think had he stayed, he would have been and did the same thing basically, especially the season that we had defensive stars going out, him and Derrick Kendrick being teammates again. I think easily he would be in the top 3 rounds, easily. But in the end, both were undrafted, and only Hackett is on the practice squad. I think he's on his second team practice squad. Just like in a year. I don't know. I understand people come from different situations and people come from, different homes and lifestyles where they need the immediate money, because even if you look at practice roster, it's still a good salary. But in the end, when would you decide to enter the NFL draft is what I'm asking. Would you, right after your junior year, no matter where you're projected, are you going to go because you're like, hey, that's money, I'm going, I don't care if I even get drafted. I've seen the stories of the undrafted rookies. I know I have the skill. I'm just going to take it. I'm going to go. Or is it going to be after your senior year? Still, obviously you have to leave after your senior year, but are you going to wait until your senior year? Are you going to wait until after you get a degree? Maybe you're a redshirt junior and say, or redshirt junior and say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and go. redshirt sophomore. I'm going to go ahead and leave. I think redshirt sophomore is going to leave. When would you decide to enter the NFL draft? Is it when you're guaranteed at least the top 3 rounds? That's when I'm going to go. If you're a junior, underclassman, is that when you're going to go? I think that's only the safest route when you are guaranteed, because it's easy to see where you're going to be at, especially when you're talking to other people and not just family or, whatever. You can see, all right, I should be drafted. I should be guaranteed top 3. Solid money and a way to go. But, man, I don't know. I'm not saying any of these Ohio State players are, not good enough. I mean, Darren Lee, Eli Apple, Jalen Marshall, Michael Thomas, and a lot of these players all are going to be great, or at least solid. They're going to make an impact. They have the skill set, at least, to do it. Cardale Jones, on the other hand, he's the dumb one out of all of this. I don't know why he's planning on going to the NFL draft. And I know Ohio State fans are probably going to come after me by saying it, but I can list probably 7 other quarterbacks. And I'm not talking about just like Jared Goff and the main guys. I can list about 7 other quarterbacks that I would feel more confident in drafting over him because of more experience, leadership, things like that. The University of Washington athletic director Scott Woodward, say that 3 times fast, has accepted the same position at Texas A&M, according to the Seattle Times and other media reports. He was hired at Washington by Mark Emmert, who's now the NCAA president. Boo. Woodward is leaving a post he has occupied since January of 2008. Now, he's a Louisiana native. He was an LSU graduate, so he's returning to his roots of the SEC. And the A&M's AD job came open when the school announced Tuesday that Eric Hyman was stepping down. And the funny part, he just gave a vote of confidence to Kevin Sumlin, and then he leaves. But in my opinion, now living in Seattle and having been to College Station multiple times and living in the state of Texas, I don't know why anyone in the world would want to leave Seattle. I'm not leaving Seattle for anything. You give me a job in Seattle, I will never, ever leave. I love Seattle too much. And I know, well, why'd you come back? Well, different things, but y'all know what I mean. Let's move on. Again, the College Football Playoff Championship, January 11th, just right around the corner. We will have a preview show, a live preview show on Spreaker.com. I will tweet it. I will Facebook it. I will do every social media for it, Instagram, everything. All links are down below in the description, no matter where you're listening to. You can click on it, save it. I want you guys to join. I want you all to join in. We've grown a fan base now. So I want y'all to be there so we can chat and talk about it. You guys, there's on Spreaker.com, you are able to actually type in, write in, say what you want, and I can talk to you. We can talk about different scenarios, different things about the College Football Playoff. It'll be all College Football Playoff show. I will upload the own NFL show. I'll just do my own little thing about recapping the NFL games, probably about a 20-minute thing. I'll upload that so you guys can listen to for NFL fans. For college football fans, we will be talking probably about an hour just about the game and everything, and then giving finally our picks and wrapping up the college football season, which breaks my heart. Just does, No, we'll be fine. But anyways, moving on to the NFL. The biggest news of the week is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fired head coach Lovie Smith on Wednesday night. And a lot of people, including myself, thought that it was a questionable decision. Now, Smith had the Buccaneers in the playoff conversation at 6-6 in early December. But they lost their final 4 games to finish 6-10. That followed a 2-14 season, which they were able to get the number 1 pick and draft Jameis Winston, which is great. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't sold on the future for the Buccaneers owner and GM. Now, the defense was also a problem for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, while they jumped from 25th overall last year to 10th in total defense this year, it wasn't good enough because of the main things, which is in scoring, points per game, what they allow. And they were 26th in the league with 26.1 points per game. They were 30th on third down. Those numbers weren't any better than Smith's first season when the Buccaneers were ranked 25th in scoring and 28th on third down while ranking, again, 25th in total defense. Now, according to league sources, the Glazer family, who are the Bucs owners, also were not happy with the high number of penalties. They had 261 penalties, including a league high 143 back in 2015 again. And some of the Smith coordinator hires have just not worked out. Smith chose Jeff Tedford to be the offense coordinator back in 2014, but Tedford had heart problems in preseason and was out for the entire year. Thus, Marcus Ario, who steps in, no prior NFL coaching experience, and he calls plays that year. That leaves Lovie Smith, main guy, calls in and finds out that he is fired. And probably is going to be done unless he's a coordinator. And while he was known for defense, I highly doubt he's going back. So now that leaves, who are the Buccaneers looking at? You can honestly say that the main guy, the hottest topic, the hottest coach out there right now, and I mean that in terms of just by the best skill set. You know, that's what I mean. Y'all guys know what I mean. Anyways, and that's got to be Chicago Bears offense coordinator Adam Gase. And imagine him working, and I know we say this a lot with, Marcus Mariota, but with Jameis Winston. And an already somewhat developed offensive line and a receiving core, a running back core by committee that has worked very well this season. Doug Martin really wanting to come back with the Buccaneers. This is perfect. Adam Gase putting them together. Defensively, obviously needs some help. Maybe he makes better decisions to get defensive coordinator, but Buccaneers become a very, very interesting team to coach for. And the Titans can't be liking this right now because the Titans were the team where, we have the rookie quarterback, we got the rookie wide receivers, we got the young team. We just need a right coach to develop them and win that locker room. They had that. All the other teams we're just the average NFL team. We need a coach to get above average. Buccaneers now jump in with that race, and now a coach has to decide more than anything, with the players. Do I want to coach Jameis Winston for the future or Marcus Mariota? It's going to be crazy. My pick for safety, I would pick the Buccaneers for safety. But I to coach Marcus Mariota and work with him, that would be awesome. But is it safe? I don't know. Former Philadelphia Eagles head coach Chip Kelly and Buffalo Bills running back coach Anthony Lynn met Thursday with San Francisco 49ers about their head coach position. A source also said that the 49ers will meet with Cleveland Browns offensive coordinator John DeFilippo today. So that'll be interesting to see what the 49ers do. But they have officially met with Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly to San Fran. I'm rooting for it. I hope it happens. Adrian Peterson. Just a guy that is a running back for the NFL. Won the NFL rushing title at the age of 30 this year. And has made it clear that he believes he is the best running back in the NFL. But the runner-up, who's the second best in his opinion? Well, that goes to the guy on the other sideline on Sunday when the Minnesota Vikings take on the Seattle Seahawks in Minnesota. And that Seahawks running back, Marshawn Lynch, Peterson said is the second best running back in the NFL. Now, despite only playing 7 games this year and gaining 417 yards this season, before that, Lynch had ran for at least 1,200 yards for the past 4 seasons. This is what Adrian Peterson had to say.
Yeah, I remember coming out with him. We trained together in Arizona, and I knew he was going to be a force to be reckoned with. But beast mode, for a reason. He's a physical runner. He plays fast. His lateral movement and cuts, his vision is, top of the line. I would have to say he's probably, even though he didn't play this year, much. I would say he's probably the, second best back in the league. I got to give it to him hands down. I think what I got him a little more speed. He got the same jump cut as me, but his lateral movement and his ability to get away and power through guys is amazing.
Now, the good thing is that Lynch has been a full participant in practice this week after returning from an abdominal surgery. Peterson, though, has missed his second day of practice Thursday after sitting out part of Sunday night's game with a low back injury. Peterson, though, said he'll be ready to roll for Sunday's game, and head coach Mike Zimmer said there won't be any restrictions on Peterson. But it's going to be an interesting matchup, duel of these running backs. Now, we saw just a few weeks ago, what happened with Seahawks. That's when they began that roll. And obviously, Minnesota, they had some guys go down in that game. And before that game, are they going to get majority of them back? Who knows? But, man, I am rooting for the Seahawks all the way. And Adrian Peterson, you might have just woken up the beast. He's a beast mode for a reason. That's right. And you might have just woken him up now. Peyton Manning will be the quarterback for the Denver Broncos in the playoffs. Head coach Gary Kubiak told the team Thursday morning. Now, Manning, who had missed 6 consecutive starts because of a left knee or heel injury, was used in 29 plays in relief of Brock Osweiler on Sunday night's regular season finale and led the Broncos on 4 scoring drives in the 27-20 victory. The other quarterback, Brock Osweiler, was 4-2 as a starter and a key contributor to the Broncos, earning the home field advantage. All that good stuff while Manning was out. He said, quote, "It's a bit of a disappointment. It's hard to hear you're going to be the one, that you're not going to be the one playing, However, I'm a big team player," end quote. Now, Denver plays the AFC Divisional Playoffs on January 17th against the lowest remaining seed from the Saturday's wildcard game, so that can range from the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Kansas City Chiefs, or the Houston Texans. Going to be interesting. And, Brock, let's see if you're a big team player. Let's see if it happens. Yesterday, the Hall of Fame class of 2016 announced its 16 finalists, and on February 6th, a day before the Super Bowl, the inductions will be scheduled for August. Now, the list of the 16 players are Brett Favre, Terrell Owens, Alan Flanagan, Warren Anderson, Steve Atwater, Don Coryell, Terrell Davis, Tony Dungy, Kevin Green, Marvin Harrison, Joe Jacoby, Edrin James, John Lynch, Orlando Pace, and Kurt Warner. The 2 senior finalists, players who ended a career more than 25 years ago, were announced last August, and that was Ken Stabler and Dick Stanfill. Now, to be elected, a finalist must receive a minimum of 80% of the votes cast by the selection panel, and a maximum of 8 inductees are allowed per year. That includes the senior, the owner GM thing, which would be not Bartolo. Is it Bartolo? I think the 49ers guy. I really like him. Yeah, him and the other players. Now, who do you believe is a sure lock out of all those 16? I'm going, at least for a sure lock, it's got to be Brett Favre, Tony Dungy, Orlando Pace, and Kurt Warner. And I didn't add this on when I was writing the show, but I'm adding Kevin Green as well. I think those 5 players are a sure lock into the Hall of Fame. Now, I know, what about Terrell Owens, Edrin James, Marvin Harrison? He's been out for a while. Terrell Davis. How are these guys? Why wouldn't you think they're a lock? Now, I'm not saying I don't think they are necessarily. I just think with these other players, I think they're immediate. Kurt Warner's been in it for a while. Tony Dungy's been in it for a while. Favre, obviously, he's going to be the headline guy. He's got to be first round. Got to be. Now, I want T.O. I truly do. T.O. is my favorite wide receiver in NFL history. He is my favorite. But who knows if his off-the-field antics throughout his career will hold him a year. Maybe they say, you know what? You've been kind of crazy off the field, and we think holding you out 1 year is fair because of everything you've caused. And not caused, but y'all know what I mean. And maybe they don't want to feed his ego anymore. No, I'm just kidding. But he also said in multiple interviews that might piss off some of the committee that he doesn't care about being in the Hall of Fame. He said it multiple times, and he says it kind of with a tone just that he really, truly does not care. It's not one of those things where, being modest, whatever. He's like, I don't care if I'm in it. My hard work's paid off, blah, blah, blah. He just straight up said, I don't care about being in the Hall of Fame. That wasn't a goal. Yes, true, that's not always your goal to be in the Hall of Fame, but he just really doesn't care. Maybe that pisses off some of the committee, says, well, we don't care about putting you in the first year, and we'll put someone in. The reason with Marvin Harrison, I don't know. I've never been a fan of Marvin Harrison anyway, especially after all that trial and stuff. Terrell Davis could be in it. I would like to see him. Edgerrin James, I don't think would be a first-year guy. But yeah, that's who I pick. And I hope Don Coryell gets in 1 year. I hope he truly does, but I don't know if it's going to be this year. And hopefully, I think next year is when LaDainian Tomlinson is finally in the Hall of Fame. I keep waiting for when LT is going to be announced because I keep looking. I think he retired in 2011 or 12. I don't know. I have to look it up. Anyways, the time that LaDainian Tomlinson is going to be inducted, because he'll be a first round, the time he is, I promise you, I'm going to Canton, Ohio. I've never been there for any of the Hall of Fame stuff. I've never been there at all, overall. But the time he is picked to go in the Hall of Fame, I will freaking be there. He came to San Marcos last, I think, March? Somewhere around that. Last year, he came around to do a football camp for the young kids. He was here. Obviously, I had to go. I had his jersey. I had just everything. It was the first time I've truly been starstruck. I've met many people. Roger Staubach, the list goes on. I've met many, many people as celebrity, mainly football players and athletes. I've never been starstruck more than I was with LaDainian Tomlinson. I didn't say a word. I was supposed to ask him a few questions. I didn't say a word. All I did was record the interview that someone at the local newspaper did. That was it. I was so starstruck. It was incredible. I don't know. I couldn't do anything. I didn't even, my dad was basically talking for me. I was a little boy basically. But when he goes, I am going to make sure I talk and hopefully get like some kind of pass or something. I don't know, but I'm definitely going to be there. I got off topic and just talked about how I was a little kid. Anyways, and it was just last year. The Baltimore Ravens expect linebacker Terrell Suggs to return for the 2016 season. And not only did San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick undergo surgery on his injured right thumb Wednesday, according to reports, he also had a procedure done on his left knee, the Sacramento Bee reported. The 49ers would not confirm the procedures, but since the start of the 2015 season, Kaepernick has had half as many surgeries as touchdown passes of 6. He's had 3 surgeries and 6 touchdown passes in 2015. Unbelievable. It raises a question whether Kaepernick will be healthy enough to pass a physical on April 1st when his $11.9 million, just $11.9 million, of his contract for the 2016 season becomes fully guaranteed. Now, you know that the San Francisco 49ers are hoping and praying that he does not pass any type of physical or that there are question marks. Even the slightest bit of thing is questioned. Because if that is, they could possibly get out of that contract, which is easier to cut him, trade him, do whatever they feel to get him off the team, which, according to some reports, that's what they want. It's just the contract situation. The same thing with RG3. Washington wants to get rid of him, but no one's going to take that contract. They can't really cut him because of the dead money. Crazy things with the contracts. But this is what they're hoping. 49ers are hoping, at least some of them, are hoping that Kaepernick has some question marks. Now, Kaepernick said Monday that, quote, "Once again, I'm preparing to be healthy and win the Super Bowl. That's all my focus is," end quote. Now, Kaepernick injured his thumb in the Niners' 20-3 loss to the Seattle Seahawks on October 22nd, and he injured his knee a week later in a 27-6 loss against the St. Louis Rams, according to the Sacramento Bee again. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Colin Kaepernick, but it's not looking too good. On the same day, the Cleveland Cavaliers star LeBron James expressed concern for Johnny Manziel, the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. James' marketing firm said it will no longer be working with Manziel. James' business manager Maverick Carter told Cleveland.com that LRMR management company will no longer represent Manziel, whose troubles off the field since being drafted by the Browns in 2014 have been well documented. Carter told the website, quote, "I will continue to support and advise him as a friend. However, because Johnny needs to focus on his personal growth, the next phase of his career, and because LRMR continues to expand beyond marketing, we made the mutual decision that it was best to terminate our business relationship." Just like that. Done. Johnny, you got to get it together, man. I'm still a fan. I'm still a fan of you. I still root for you. You got to get it together. New England Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels is, quote, interested in the Tennessee Titans head coaching position, a source said. McDaniels, who has been the Patriots offensive coordinator since 2012, when he returned to the organization, which he began his coaching career before becoming the Denver Broncos head coach back in 2009. Now he's fired in 2010. Then he became the Rams offensive coordinator back in 2011, and he came, of course, back to the Patriots in 2012. That would be interesting. You know, he's worked with a lot. Obviously, having Tom Brady truly helps. Being with a Bill Belichick really helps, and being in a system that you somewhat help create really helps to have the success that he's having this year. But you can't look away from and also not make excuses for the amount of injuries that this offensive side has had for the Patriots. The offensive line, not really having any receivers, the running back by committees has been crazy. All of these things, and they've had success. They really have. I mean, if they didn't lose the game against the Dolphins in the last week, they're the number 1 seed. So, and either way, there's the 2nd seed overall. It's not like a huge drop-off because who knows about the Broncos, whether they can win against, the Steelers, or Chiefs, Texans. Well, they probably beat the Texans. But anyways, be interesting for the Titans having basically no offensive line. The offensive line is garbage. The receivers are just about the same as the Patriots. Just Tom Brady makes them better. Working with Marcus Mariota could be a brand new experience, or will be a brand new experience for Josh McDaniels, and maybe changes things for him and it puts him back as a head coach. Who knows? Maybe bring back his career or something as a head coach. Now, one of the major stories this week has been the Detroit Lions wide receiver Calvin Johnson, who has been a perennial Pro Bowl selection. He's made a new tradition the past few years, and that's he's not playing in the Pro Bowl again. He's been named to 6 Pro Bowls, and has only played 1 of them. Now this season he finished with 88 catches, over 1,200 yards, and 9 touchdowns. But the biggest question surrounding Johnson these days has nothing to do whether or not he's going to play in the Pro Bowl, but it's whether or not he will be even play in another game next season. The 30-year-old announced Wednesday that he is evaluating his options and mulling retirement. Quote, "I would expect to have a decision regarding this matter in the not-too-distant future." A source told ESPN's Ed Warner that the question for Johnson is, do I want to play football? Quote, "I think that's the whole thing. I think Calvin is that kind of guy. If I don't feel I'm 100% into it, then I need to think about it if I want to be in it at all. This is the time of year you could probably ask a lot of players that question, and their bodies would tell them they wouldn't want to play. I think he's tired. His body probably aches, and probably all of them do." End quote. Now, Johnson has dealt with multiple injuries the past few years. A lot of people just kind of flashes through their head that, this guy is Megatron. He's a big guy. He's a big receiver. The guy who carries himself so well off the field that we don't hear about him. We only see him when he makes plays, and we don't really see the Lions that much unless you're in that, Detroit area, Michigan area. And we just know he's great. We don't really talk about the injuries that he has. He hurt his ankle back in Week 8 against the Kansas City this season. While he didn't miss a game, he was on the injury report every week and missed practices. In 2014, he missed 3 games and was limited in 2 others with a high ankle sprain. In 2013, he missed 1 game because of a knee injury and had to have off-season surgeries to repair his knee and fingers. Then in 2012, He had a knee injury and struggled gripping footballs because of a nerve issue, which obviously led to the surgeries. Now, Lions said in a statement, quote, "We obviously have a profound respect for Calvin, and certainly he understands and certainly understand and appreciate his decision to give proper thought and consideration to his football future," end quote. Now, if he plays next season, Johnson is scheduled to make $15.95 million in salary with a $24 million cap hit. Now, if the Lions were to let Johnson go, that would save $11.1 million against the cap, and he has 4 more years on his contract with Detroit. My question to you is, do you see Calvin Johnson playing next season? Most likely that's in the Lions uniform. He doesn't want to get traded, and obviously I don't think, I know there's rumors about him getting traded to the Patriots or wherever when the trade deadline happened. He wants to win in Detroit. He is dedicated to Detroit, and he's not going to leave, and Detroit's not going to send him anywhere. I don't think because of the contract they might. But right now, do you see Calvin Johnson playing in another game? Now get over the fan aspect of thinking. Don't think, oh yeah, of course he's going to come back. He's got his shoes, he's Calvin Johnson, Megatron, all this other great stuff. Get over that. Truly think about it. Truly think about the injuries he's had. And do you expect Calvin Johnson to play in the NFL next season? It's going to be interesting. It really is. Now, I hope he's going to make the best decision for himself and for his family. And I hope whatever it is, that he truly, truly, truly feels that way, that he's committed to it all the way. Because if he comes back, this whole thing's gonna happen again with the body thing and everything. I hope he truly thinks about it and makes an informed decision that he's not persuaded because of fans saying, "Oh, you have to come back," this and stuff. He's 30 years old already. And who would have thought the guy out of Georgia Tech who ran the triple freaking option, that this guy would have become a star? Now, I know he's still was drafted in the first round, I think like 22nd overall and stuff, but still, he comes out of that and becomes one of the best wide receivers in the NFL history. It's crazy. It's crazy. Now, again, we have a playoff picture. We have the playoffs. And that is the number 6 Pittsburgh Steelers, number 3 Cincinnati, and also Kansas City and Houston, Seattle, Minnesota, Green Bay, Washington, going at it. It's going to be awesome games. I'm excited for them. Now, I'm trying to pull it up. I'm trying to buy time, but I just can't do this all at the same time. I accidentally closed the games. First game, Saturday. All AFC, which is crazy. I thought we always had a mix. Anyways, we have the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Houston Texans, 3:20 p.m. Central Time, which is going to be on ABC/ESPN. I guess they're going to put on both, depending on where you live. That's where it's going to be on. Kansas City, a 3-point favorite. Now, Kansas City started off the season, again, we've heard it multiple times. They started off 1-5. They have now finished the season 11-5. They've won 10 straight games, and I don't think there's any way the Texans win this game. I don't. There's no way. Kansas City will win this game 10 points at the very minimum. Now, I've been terrible making picks. I know. I've been bad at making picks this year. But I just do not see any way the Texans, I don't care about home field advantage in Houston and knowing that they want to get that playoff win, blah, blah, blah. I don't think there's any freaking way that the Chiefs lose this game. The only way it happens would have to be just special teams turnovers. They give up points special teams wise. Throwing the pick sixes, stuff like that. But I still think that's the odds of that are so slim. I think the Chiefs just have too much firepower. Get this offense going, and Chiefs will win this game, 27-10. That's my score. And then that night on CBS, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Cincinnati Bengals with A.J. McCarron starting. Pittsburgh is a 3-point favorite. They sneak in after the Jets choke in Week 17 versus the Bills. And the rematch for the third time. I know we have to go by seeding and stuff like that, but man, sometimes you got to think like, do you really want to see this? We've possibly, if you're in Pittsburgh or with this in Cincinnati, or if you just have you're fans of both, you've seen this game twice. You see it twice a year. Now in the playoffs, you got to see it once more. To me, I just wish maybe we switch the Chiefs and the Steelers. Steelers go play the Texans. Chiefs come play the Bengals. We should have a rule that changes things if the division. I know it will never happen, and it's kind of stupid, but I don't know. I'm just tired of seeing the same games over and over in the playoffs because we have this a lot. But anyways, it's supposed to be about 54 degrees, kind of rainy. I'm going to go, sadly, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Steelers win this game. I know A.J. McCarron's starting for, his 5th straight game. Andy Dalton's out. But, man, the Steelers are rocking right now. And I know it's only been 1 week because 2 weeks ago they looked like they were just out of it and they were just terrible. But then before that, they were on fire. But Antonio Brown is just going off. This team has found its offense once again. And they just always, somehow, when it comes to big games against the Bengals just can't win them. And I'm not just talking about the playoffs. I'm just talking about like just big games overall or against bigger teams like the Steelers. They just don't win it when it matters. And this time it matters. It's a big game. And let's see if the Bengals head coaching job comes open when Marvin Lewis loses another playoff game and has a winless record in the playoffs. It sucks. Not the way you wanted it to happen, but it's going to happen. Then on Sunday, we have the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Minnesota Vikings. A beautiful, sunny, 4-degree weather in Minneapolis, Minnesota, TCF Bank Stadium. Seattle is a 5-point favorite. This game starts at 12:05 p.m. Central Time on NBC. And they played earlier in the season. Seattle just absolutely crushed Minnesota, blew them away. A few Minnesota defensive players got hurt before and during the game. I'm still taking Seattle either way. Seattle is on a roll. They are the hottest team in the NFL right now. You can make the argument with the Chiefs and the Steelers, but Seattle has just shown all of its offensive firepower throughout the year. They get Marshawn Lynch back. They have the running back by committee as well they can rely on. I'm taking Seattle to win this because of the weather. A little bit low scoring, but I think obviously Seattle will score enough. I'm going to say 24-17, 24-10 type victory for the Seattle Seahawks. Then 3:40 p.m. Central Time, you have the Green Bay Packers taking on the Washington team. This game, 3:40 p.m. Central Time on Fox. Green Bay is a 1-point favorite. The weather is supposed to be about 58 degrees and rainy as well. I'm taking Green Bay here. I know Washington's been on a roll offensively, but I think Green Bay's got enough in them to keep it going throughout the entire game. Something I don't feel confident in Washington doing, especially with their defense. Deshaun Jackson might have a big game. Most likely will have a huge game, but I'm taking Green Bay to win this. Let's say 35-31, somewhere around that range. A little bit of a shootout, not too much. An NFL shootout, you should say. That is it for today's show. We got them down. Playoffs. Done like that. And we will recap everything we'll do an NFL recap. And then we'll, on Monday morning, that should be uploaded pretty early. I'll probably pre-record that on the end of Sunday night or something. And then Monday at 10 a.m. Monday morning, we will do a live show for you guys on Spreaker.com. I will tweet it everywhere at @short_sports247 on Facebook, The Short Sports Show, on YouTube, The Short Sports Show, and everywhere else you can imagine, The Short Sports Show. Thank you guys so much for your support. I will see you guys Monday morning as we recap the NFL playoffs and preview the national championship game between the Alabama Crimson Tide and Clemson Tigers. Nick Saban versus Dabo Swinney. Deshaun Watson versus the Alabama defense. It's going to be an amazing game. I have to work that night. Yay, me. Can't get out of it this time. But anyways, thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you for listening. Be that awesome person that likes and shares this video. Rate it on iTunes for me, will you? And I love you guys. I will see you Monday morning. As always, God first, God bless. I'm out. Peace.
Forever. I'ma do this here forever. Forever. I'ma do this here forever. Forever. I'ma do this here forever. Forever. I'ma do this here forever.
I done came way too far for me to stop it now. I done worked way too hard just to drop it now. We came sorry.